Hi everybody, this is Harmony with Cornerstone Stitchery and welcome to my channel. Here we talk about my crafting journey, which usually revolves around cross stitch, but with some knitting and crochet thrown in. And as of last June, it also involves my cross stitch designs, which I talk about when I have something to talk about. And so that way, though, for those of you that don't want to talk shop, we only talk about it a little bit when necessary. So my last update was about a month and a half ago. I used to film on Sunday and Sunday early afternoon and post later on in the evening, and that just doesn't seem to be working for our schedule here. So I just have to think about how to get this to work better so that way I can come to you every 2 weeks like I used to. But before we get really into this, my special guest is laying over here. I did turn around so the light wasn't facing or wasn't coming in from behind me. So my special guest here is on my left, and he heard a truck outside, so he's not happy about that. Also, there are snowmobilers outside because of the recent snowfall, so you may hear that. And I am going to try to talk fast because my husband has been sleeping for a while. I was waiting for my phone to charge, and so I do not want to be an inconvenience to him when he wakes up from nap time. So I do want to take a quick minute to thank everyone who stops by to watch, comment, like all the YouTube things. It really does mean a lot to me that you spend your quality or your special time, the quality time that you have to give to yourself, here with me to listen to what I have to say about crafts. So let's go ahead and get started. In January, I stitched about 11,000 stitches. I don't have the exact number. I'm using my Notion, but I would have to change the filter. So for ease of filming, and we'll just leave it at that. But from January 1st until yesterday, I stitched 13,808 stitches. February so far has been a light month, but we will talk about that. But I do have two finishes. The first one is a Prairie Year, and this is by the Prairie Schooler. There's 1 month per, or one little block per month. And I did most of the second half. I did all of the second half of the year. I've done July and August, September, October, November, December. And then I came up and I did February and March. And then I looked at the rest of the patterns on the chart and I said, you know what, I don't want to do those. So I'm calling this book finished. So the Santa Claus is upstairs in my finished pile. So it's around somewhere. All the rest of them are here. Here is the February block that I finished. And the March block that I finished. And then I get to put all the floss away. There's a dark blue floss in here for something. Sorry, I'm sitting in a different chair too, and everything wants to slide around. Okay, so then here in the rest of my pile, I have November, September. They're going all which way? July. And August is backwards. August and October. So I figured that was enough out of this chart. Almost all of them. And that's pretty good. So I'm going to put all of the floss away because it has a lot of floss in there. This doesn't look right to me. This doesn't look like the floss out of this project because I don't think it calls for 311. Let's look. It actually does, but for what? Oh, 4th of July. So I get to put all this floss away, and this is just part of it. The red and the green are in here. So I get to put this away. It's a job that some of us just don't do often, do we? We just throw it in a bag and toss it aside. And then I do have some extra pieces of fabric, and I will use those for something else. So this was finish number 1 for 2025. I'm so excited. Oh, one more. And some more floss. And finish number 2 was from the Superb Owl Stitch Along, Stitch In. What was it called? I don't have the pattern here. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, it's in here. The Superb Owl Stitch In. It was put on by Hands On Design and Lindy Stitches last year on Super Bowl Sunday. And you bought your way in, you got a couple charts, and then there was breakout sessions as well. And this is one of them. This is called Love Lavishly Stand Up. I chose to put the heart instead of the football. My local shop didn't have the called for fabric, so I chose Picture This Plus Serene. I believe it's 32 count linen and with all the called for colors. And so I finished him. Let's see. I have my thing here. In a prairie year, I put 2,777 stitches in to finish up the pumpkin for October and March and February. So that was a good chunk. And then on this Love Lavishly, I put in, just have to find it on I put in 1,658 stitches to finish them up. And that was most of the body and one little leg. Yeah. And this one, the pattern called for 2 skeins of the Watley Woods, and I don't think that I used 1 full skein. So I have some leftovers from this project as well to go in my stash. Okay, I'm just going to go from the top of my pile here down in no particular order. This one, I still have it on the hoop because I'm working on my February stitches. I did do, let's see, total between January and what I did yesterday, I have 1,628 stitches in, and this is my Super Mario 3 World 1 map, and I've been focusing on filling in here, like down, and making sure, like going here. The only thing that's not filled in yet is the center of these little things in the level chips, the level markers. There's 8 stitches in each one, and I have to do chip 2, chip 3, and chip 4. But I figured since there's only 8 stitches, there's 10 stitches, but 2 colors. So I figured that why pull it out every time that I get to a chip? I'm just gonna do them all at the very end when I get level 1 done. And actually the level 1 chip goes right here. So I'm going to put that in soon. And then that way I can go back and finish all those blues and have those done. And then I'm gonna put those flosses away because they'll be zeroed out. So I'm getting there. So right now, this month in February, what I'm focusing on is trying to get some of the light color in the sand put in. So across here, in between these cactuses, I'm working, and then down this way, and then at the bottom. Because I have a cross stitch retreat next month in March, and it's easy stitching to do the darker color of the sand because I won't have to count. I just have to then fill in the spaces that I've already created. So this cactus, somehow I missed the eyes, so I do have to go back and do the eyes, because then what I'll do too is if I get sick of the background color for the sand, then I can do these 6 cacti, and then yeah, and then down here on the left hand side of the level 5 chip are more of these rocks. So if I got bored too, then I could do those. But mainly, if I have the background color of the sand all prepped and ready to go, I can actually whip through those stitches really quickly. And what I do is about 500 to 600 a day while I'm at the retreat, and then I set it aside and then work on something else for the rest of the day. So the faster I can get those 600 stitches in each day, then the sooner I can move on to the next project. Okay, this one, it looks like it is Into the Jungle. And okay, so some of these projects are slated for a finish, are on my finish this year list, and Super Mario World is one of them. I think I can do it this time. And then some of them are whip go pieces, which that may overlap. What I did decide to do for my whip go is just to put all of my whips on a wheel, or actually I put numbers 1 through 53 because I had 53 whips, and then I spun it 24 times, and those numbers correlated to my projects and then alphabetically, and then I put those on the whip go accordingly. So the first one that was called went in spot number 1. The second one that was spun went on number 2. And I hope that makes sense, but really just know that I used a wheel to decide which ones were going on there. And then the other ones I just chose for the finish this year. I chose projects that I thought were feasible to finish this year. So let's see. So on Into the Jungle, this is by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I got this from someone else. So what I'm trying to do is finish it, and then I want to frame it and give it to the church for the younger families. If someone is interested in it, and maybe one of the younger families can put it up in the nursery at home, because we have a lot of young families at church. And okay, so the last time that you saw this, I talked about not having all of the floss, and I was getting frustrated. I did make my list, and I did go get floss. I put it all away yesterday, but I noticed on my list that some of them were missing, so I don't know if my local shop was out or if I just messed up. So we'll see how far I can get with the supplies I purchased this time. Okay, so this time around, I was focusing on the leaves across the bottom banner and then more on the leopard, but I did mostly leaves on the bottom. And I do believe that I got all of the leaves done, and then there's just some stitches in between to fill in space. So this is on, I believe, a 32 count Lugana with the called for DMC. And this is where it's at so far. But yeah, I was about halfway done with the leaves, so I just filled in the rest. And some of those leaves are pretty big. They were 50 to 70, 90 stitches a piece, the bigger green ones. And the person that gave it to me did say that this was the called for fabric, but I'm not sure if that's the case. It doesn't really matter. It is pretty. So on Into the Jungle, I put in 1,215 stitches. I thought I did really well in January because everything that I touched got over, well, except for one. The Middle Earth map only got 326, but everything else, no, that's still a lie. There's two projects that I touched in January got less than 1,000 stitches. All the rest received over 1,000. I think that's pretty good. So that will come, I don't know if that was, I don't have my whip go list up. Okay, so this next project that is in my pile is this is by, it's from the Superb Owl Stitch-In, and it's by Hands On Design. The Love Lavishly Stand Up was by Lindy Stitches. I obviously got sick of working on this because I still have a thread stuck here, and I left it on the hoop for some reason. So let me handle all of this while I tell you how many stitches I got. This is called the Stitching Parliament. It has 4 owls. I did 1,884 stitches, which is actually spread from the end of January through February. I was trying to get it done before Super Bowl Sunday because I started it on Super Bowl Sunday last year. However, I was on the struggle bus with it for some, well, maybe not with it particularly, but there was some days where I hardly did any stitching at all, and I just didn't even make it. But to be fair, I hardly had any done, so I had the bulk of the project left to do. So this is on some kind of 32 count Lugana. I have no idea what the name of it is. I could ask to see if we could go back on my receipts and find it. So this little guy, Hoops, barely had the corner done right here, and it said Hoops, and that was it, just the corner here. So I finished him, and then I started on threads, and then I stitched specs because I wanted to cut the excess fabric off. So I stitched over all the way, and then I went up, because then I thought, because see, like I have all this extra fabric and I wanted to cut it off. So it's a tiny little thing. So once I get the other half of threads done, I can cut the excess fabric off and put it in my box. So almost 1900 stitches I put on these guys. And also, this was a PDF that we got for the event, and for the life of me, I could not find the PDF. I had printed it off for some reason, which I'm so thankful, but I couldn't find the electronic version, and I was really struggling to see. It's really tiny, and I was really struggling to see it. So I did put it in, I scanned it and put it in a markup. So I did spend some time on assigning symbols and such on this one. On Love Lavishly, I did not assign symbols. I just went for it because there was only a couple colors. This one, there's a lot. There's 15 colors in this one. That's including the back stitch, because like one color is only used for back stitching. So I did spend the time on assigning symbols to it in markup, so that way I could stitch faster and not have to think about it as hard. So that did take up some of my stitching time, but like I said, like one day I think I got 66 stitches. And so even though I wanted to get this done before Super Bowl Sunday, I didn't make it. And Super Bowl Sunday weekend, I didn't even stitch. On Saturday and Sunday, I didn't even stitch. So those are the only 2 days so far that I have not stitched this year. So this one is going to go back into the bag or the bin, and it will be pulled again some other time to see if I can get this finished this year. But so far I've got 2, and this will be done too. I think I have 13 projects on the finish list because I want to finish more than I finished last year. I think last year I got 10. And that's not including my designs. So last year I did 3 designs. This year I want to do 3 designs. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So the next one we're going to talk about, because it's next in the pile, is Nevermore. This was a WIPGO call for February, and let's see, I got 1,002 stitches, I believe. Yes, 1,002 stitches. So I want to show you what I'm looking at, and I don't know if there will be a glare. I have a needle there. So if there's not a glare on here, Frizzy Lizzy Stitches, Elizabeth from that YouTube channel, did a tutorial on her using Notion, and she had a chart. So I followed her instructions on how to create a chart. So it has like this little circle, and each section, each color is a different chart or a different pattern, a different project, and it tells you the percentage of your stitches for your time period and then how many stitches you actually got done. So right now my filter says January 1st through February 28th, and for instance, Nevermore is 7.3% of my stitches in that time frame, and I did 1,002 stitches. So I really liked how this is a new feature in Notion, and I liked how she's incorporating it in to her Notion templates or her Notion database, and I really enjoy it as well. And you can change your filter. So before I started filming this video or recording this video, I had it set just for February 1 to February 28, but all of January I had it set for January 1 to 31. And you can change it at any time. You can only do one date filter, at a time. So, so you have to switch it around and play with it, tweak it around when you want to see something different. But for this video purposes, I just wanted to talk about everything that I've done. So next time that I come to you, we'll probably just do a February recap, and that will be a lot better. So anyways, back to Nevermore. This was one of my starts for in September when I was doing all the Prairie Schooler. And if you remember correctly, I finished this urn then, and I had started the next small, which I finished this month, just the other day. It took me 2 days to finish it. And then I started on the big one. And look guys, I even did the back stitching like a grown-up. Like a grown-up. Of course, the big one is big, but like I said before, almost all of the Prairie Schoolers have a big piece and then at least one small piece. And I didn't want to start all the big ones or all the small ones, because then I would be left with the opposites, right? So this one, I started with the smalls and got them done. Now I have a great start on the big one. So this project is pretty symmetrical. So on this side, I will have another hand like this one. They're like Ouija board hands. I don't believe in the Ouija board, but still. So I'll have another one over here, and then that will be the width of the piece, the project. So it'll be like this wide, right? I did not fill in the hand yet. That it's actually filled in with white and some more black stitches. And when I was doing my big floss list, I forgot this one. So I only have 2 of the 4 colors, or 2, there's 5 colors maybe, but I only have 2. So I had to do black, which is fine. And also as a reminder, my Prairie Schoolers are all stitched on 28 count Monaco, either the color that they came off the bolt or I coffee tea dyed them. A Prairie Year is coffee tea dyed. So yeah, I've got a pretty good start on this one. The house in the center is pretty massive, but we'll get there when we get there. And so I think what I'll do when I get to the house is stitch a strand or 2 in the house, a strand or 2 somewhere else. So that way I feel like I'm still making progress. Because for me, it's all the visual progress, right? I could put in 2,000 stitches, but if I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere on the house, I'm going to feel like I made no progress. So it'll be smarter for my mind if I do some stitches, like say on the fence or up here in the letters and the border. See the border up around the diamond around it, and then stitch some on the house. And once I get that border up around it, then I can stitch anything above the border and still stitch on the house at the same time. So I can trick myself into thinking I'm making some progress, which I will be, but it'll look different, right? Oh, drop the bag on that one. Okay, another one that I have for a finish is Big Keeper Bigfoot by Sambry Designs or Sambry Stitches. It kind of goes by both. Let me see if I can find the picture of it. Nope, that's a blank piece. See how pretty it is? Oh, goodness. Ah, here it is. It was stuck to the cardboard. She put a piece of cardboard in it so it would not get bent. So this is Big Keeper Bigfoot. I am just about finished. Just about finished. But what I had realized is I'm taking out the bird feeder and the bluebird, and I'm adding in 2 of the bees into the corner. So I'm taking out this and adding 2 bees. So total, I have 6 bees and 1 hummingbird and 1 honeycomb to stitch. I missed one of the honeycombs up here. I have the bee skep done. I have the Bigfoot done. So I have to stitch the flowers on the arbor, 6 bees and 1 hummingbird, and this is done. But again, or what I was going to say earlier and I cut myself off, I found that I did not have the light green for the hummingbird, and so I just quit. I don't know why. So this is scheduled for a finish for 2025, and it shouldn't take me more than another 2 hours or so, maybe 3 at the most, depending on how fiddly the bees, and more so the flowers on the arbor, I think, are going to be the most fiddly. So this won't take me very long, but I need to figure out what I'm doing with this color because I thought I had them all. But I need one DMC 164. So I can either pull out or go buy 164, or I can pull out my color card and see if there's something similar and see if I have that in my stash, just something that will go with the other colors. So this you will see sometime in the near future finished, I hope. Okay, I am dropping everything today, so that's just gonna go on the floor. I'll clean it in a bit. Okay, this is harvest time. This was in my pile of things to stitch. My Notion says that I worked on this, but I have no recollection of stitching on this in 2025 so far. I have no idea. I don't know if it was a WIPGO. Maybe, let me check my WIPGO. I just don't remember. Oh, I hit the wrong button. You think I would be better at this by now. In the meantime, this is harvest time. It's 3 pieces that go together as one. You could probably stitch them together like in one bigger piece if you wanted to, but I do not think I don't have it on fabric that way. So I am working on the big busy one on the with the house up here. So let's see if this was on WIPGO. Because there's 4 projects called so far. Nevermore I finished. Harvest time, that's what it was. It was on WIPGO. So that explains things. I didn't even remember. Okay. So let's see. Oh, I worked on the house a lot and the wagon. Look at this progress. So this is Coffee Tea Dyed Monaco. So I finished the roof on the house and I put in the front and the door, and then I was working over this way to the right so I can get, I like putting the borders in so that way I know where the parameters of the project are. I don't know why. I like to do that on all of them. So, almost. So what is on the other side? So there's another tree over here, and then I'm to the corner. So I was getting there. I got to scroll back down to my chart. I got 1,198 stitches. And for my WIPGO this year, I don't really have a goal of what, like I don't have a set goal, but I guess if I could do something, like if I could try to get 1,000 stitches in, because some of these 1,000 stitches really isn't a lot. It could help me get toward a finish is what I'm trying to say. So even though in some of the projects 1,000 isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things, in other projects like Big Keeper Bigfoot that I put 746 in, if I had to put in 1,000, I'd probably be done with the thing by now. See, like I held myself back. Okay, I believe this next one is another WIPGO. Let's see, I think it is Seasons in Chalk Winter. Yes, Seasons in Chalk Winter. So far, there's been 4 WIPGO calls, and I finished 3. Let me find the cover photo of this. It's in a magazine, so I am stitching it on paper. This is the stitch. Wait, is that the stitch model? Yeah. The top one is the stitched model. The bottom one is the chalk art. And I put in, I gotta go backwards again. If I could be at work and I have 2 screens, maybe if I could talk my husband into getting me a second iPad, I could have both of them up at the same time. And I won't have to keep swapping back and forth. Let's see, Seasons in Chalk Winter, I did 1,374 stitches, and I finished the word winter. So this is my progress so far. So I think I had the R and the E, and so I did wint. I did wint, and I did this snowflake. And that got me 1,300 stitches, right? 1,374. And this is on 28 count black Monaco, which supposedly they're making again, but it's the stuff that it's starchy, like the other kinds that you can get now. It's all starchy. So, I mean, the bulk of the stitching, there's a lot of snowflakes, a lot of fiddly bits in here. So besides the house and the snowman down in the corner, I think I've really done the bulk of the stitching. I mean, those snowflakes are no joke, but making progress. Let's see if this is on the list. This is on the list for a finish this year. I better get to stitching. I will probably need another 2 to 3 weeks to get this done. Okay, that is all of my stitching. I just wanted to show you this. I came across this little kit at the Dollar General. And as you can see, it was $1. $1. So I grabbed it up really quick. It was in their Valentine's section, Valentine's Day. So I don't know if they're still gonna have it. But I got this and I set it on the table. And then I don't know if I gave it to my daughter or if my daughter just picked it up and stitched it. I can't remember if I like, here, do this, or if she just stole it, which I don't care. And so it took her a couple sittings just because she didn't, she didn't do a lot at each one time. And she finished it and it's all done. She put the chain on it with the keychain, the little ring. And she said, don't look at the back. And I said, well, I don't know. And I did. And I said, I don't know how you can make it any neater. And the instructions tell you to make knots. So she followed the instructions, but to me, and I'm not going to show you because she didn't even want me to look at it, but it makes it, why would the instructions tell you to do that? Because now there's these knots back here. And I said, well, don't worry about it because we can cover it with felt, but the knots are going to make it like lumpy. I just don't know why they would tell you to do that, but it is super cute. And then we were in Michael's because I had a $5 off your $5 purchase or whatever. It was just a reward and it was just $5 free. So I went to get some more floss. Oh, I do have one more project, but I digress. Back to this real quick. And I noticed that they actually have back in the corner at Michael's by the cross stitch thread, they have some shapes, basic shapes like round, square. There was maybe 4 or 5 at Michael's with the holes drilled just like this. So I think it's, in my opinion, I wouldn't make the knots, but besides that, I think it's a really good starter project for people because then they can easily hold it, right? Hold it, and they can learn to hold their project. Anyway, I don't know. This one from Dollar General was affordable. And so if I find other ones, not the butterfly, but other designs, I might pick them up for her if she enjoyed doing that. And she did have some leftover. I mean, you have the plastic needle, and then there was some leftover floss. So it came with enough, and it came with instructions. So, I mean, butterfly. Okay, last project. Let me back down to the chart. It is Middle Earth map. Now this is the map of Middle Earth from Lord of the Rings. I did 326 stitches. It's still on the Q-snap. I stopped working on it because I needed more colors. So I'm picking colors up as I need them, you know, because it's almost 300,000 stitches. So I am not going to afford to pick them all up at the same time. So I am kind of parking on this one. What I'm doing is trying to stitch, not in a complete diagonal, but my stitches are looking much better than they are on the Super Mario map because I'm doing one diagonal at a time. You know, I'm stitching in a way where I can stitch one by one diagonal all the way up or all the way down, going up or down, and my stitches are looking so great. And 326 stitches, and it's not much. The fabric is huge. It's huge. It's going to be all wrinkly by the time I'm done. It's 18 count Aida. Same Aida I'm stitching the Mario map on, but I basically doubled what I had before. And like I said, my stitches are looking pretty good if I do say so myself. I hope you can see that because I can't see what you're seeing. So I bought $37.90 and $38.63, I believe. I believe that's what it was, $38.63, 2 more browns. Because this is a lot of brown and tan. And so I think I can fill in. Oh, and I found 2 skeins, 2 other skeins, a green and $7.29. So $9.34 and $7.29 in my stash. So I should be able to go back in and start filling those in if I needed those. Or maybe the $9.34 was just a second skein. I thought that I don't know. I know I found the $7.29 because I have like tons of $7.29 for some reason. So I don't know if you can see it, but there's like little, what some people call ninja stitches in there. So I can go back and start filling those in. But I will work on this when I've got all of my other goals for the month done. So I want to work on a project or 2 that are on the finish list, and then I want to do my whip gold pieces and my Mario map. So if I get all of that done by the end of the month, then I will stitch on this for a little bit because this isn't a top priority, but if you don't put any stitches in it, you're never going to make any progress. So I just said a night or 2 a month, getting a couple hundred stitches in, maybe. It'll still take forever, but as I get those whips down, the number of them down, and get a lot more finishes, I hope that I don't ever do something as fun, but also kind of as silly and irresponsible as the Prairie Schooler thing again, because that was a lot that added to my whip list. And so then it takes away from other projects. So that's why I'm hoping, another reason why I'm hoping to get all of those other projects done, so that way it leaves room for new starts, because you're always going to have new starts. I am going to have designs and then projects like this that are going to need attention every once in a while. So 326 for January, which wasn't that bad. Like I said, I doubled the stitching on it. But now back to Mario map, okay? So 2 more things to talk about. The retreat. So I have another retreat scheduled for 2025, May 31st to June 2nd in Chesaning, Michigan. The total price is either $165 or $195, and it depends on if you come in Thursday night or Friday morning, okay? So that's basically it. It is dormitory style sleeping arrangements, but it's so much fun. We stayed up talking until like 12:30, and we just stitched and talked, and then we went out to dinner. we had exclusive shopping hours at the cross stitch shop. And then we went out with them for dinner afterwards, and it was just a great time. So I hope that you can put it on your calendar and plan to attend. I am going to put the registration link down below in the description box. I am doing things a little bit different this year because I couldn't keep a handle on who was registered and who wasn't. So I'm going to collect your money and your registration, and I am going to then take it to the Cross Stitch Retreat Center, or that not the cross. It's called Creative Passions Retreat Center, and then we will follow. I will let you know when your money has been dropped off to them, and then you will follow their cancellation policy, which I also put in the registration form so that way you know what it is, but you can also find it, I believe, on their website, or I can email you a copy of the PDF, okay? So, but the basics is May 31st to June 2nd, or you can come early on May 30th. We will have, I believe, exclusive shopping hours for the Cross Stitch store. It's about a half an hour away from Chesaning. It's about 15 minutes away from my house. And we'll just have a great time all weekend. So, and if you know anybody that that may not watch my channel, or share the news, share the wealth, feel free to forward the link onto other Michigan Stitchers. Or if you're not a Michigan Stitcher, but you plan to be in Michigan or want to come to Michigan for that, feel free, okay? Okay, and the only other thing that I have to talk about really, really quickly is Cornerstone Stitchery itself. I do have another design in the works. I told myself after winter break, Christmas break, if we had any snow day, I wanted to get it started. So we've had 3 snow days since I worked on it. One of those snow days, the very first one, and I thought that I had it all planned out. Got the fonts, got the color, got the layout, had it all done. But then once I started charting it, I'm like, this isn't going to work exactly the way I wanted it to. So what happens for me in my process for most anything is work on it for a minute, let it stew in the background for a while, and then when you pick it back up, it's great. I can just see it or something. So I am almost ready to get started on it again. But I wanted to come to you and let you know that I am working. I'm hoping maybe to release one pattern every 4 months or so, just because I already have I don't have a lot of things going on, but I don't want to overwhelm myself and put too much pressure on myself. These are supposed to be inspired by what God shows me or what he tells me. And so I just have to go with that kind of flow instead of I need to do 1 release a month or whatever. So I do have, the plan was to stitch this on 32 count Lugana Dusty. It's called Dusty Cottage. That was not a good picture of it, was it? And I don't know if this is going to, like I said, I cannot see what you're seeing. I do not have the viewfinder facing me because I found that it's best for me to have it away. So this is Dusty Cottage. I do believe it's Bestitch Me fabric, and it's 32 count Lugana. And I don't know why I picked this. I think it was just one of those things where I saw it in the shop and I knew what color floss I was going to use on it, and that was that. God, guys. And so the floss is 3371. And I know that these designs are not for everybody, but this is what I'm supposed to be designing. So if you don't like it and it's not your cup of tea, or you want to change the colors, or you want to change the fabric, I totally understand all of that. But when the model stitch I'm supposed to stitch for this is Dusty Cottage by Bestitch Me with DMC 3371. And when I made the mock-up, I sent it to my daughter and my husband said, no, you need to do it like this, or this is my opinion, you should do it like this. And I said, okay, how about we do it both? So I don't know if I'll stitch it both ways, but there will be a mock-up for his version as well as the stitched version that I'm supposed to stitch. So that is it. That was my quick update. The last time I knew, my local needle workshop, Stitch in Time in Saginaw, had Dusty Cottage, but of course you can like I said, you can sub out for anything that you find at your local shop, or you can call them and they can ship it to you if you don't have a local shop. So that is all that I have to say. I hope that you all stay warm, because it's supposed to get cold again here in Michigan this coming week. And I hope you stay safe on the roads, because there's snow. And I hope that you would just have a good time. I hope that you saw something in this video or heard something in this video to inspire you to pick up a languishing whip or to try something new. And until the next time I'm able to come see you, I hope that you enjoy yourself and have a great time. Bye.